our Selfies to Selfless, and it's trying to get people out of their shell and into helping other people. So I've been with Maximized Living for the last 10 years. I've kind of taken a different road from them. Still doing all Maximized Living stuff here, but this is my first show first slideshow I've written in probably 5 or 6 years. Maximized Living used to give us these things. So it was nice doing the slides and doing it all myself because it's more tailored to us anyway. So welcome to our talk. First reminder, we have a recipe night coming up on Healthy Barbecue. It's next Monday night at 6:30. How it works is Linda and I will be barbecuing up the meat, and then there's 5 different side dishes over there. You'll choose one of the side dishes if you're going to come. If you're going to come with your spouse, you make one dish. If you're coming with your spouse and a couple kids, simply double the recipe, same recipe, and then there'll be enough food for everyone. And then you'll come and you'll get to sample the other 4 dishes that you didn't have to make, and then you'll figure out which ones you'll want to make at home. It's just a lovely meal if you want to come and enjoy, but you do have to sign up, you do have to get a recipe. It's nice if you bring your own cutlery and plates, makes it easier on us. We will provide some of those things, but we're trying not to create messes in this world. So we're trying to make sure that we're not creating messes by giving people cardboard plates when we don't need to. So if you're interested, we'd love you to be there. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great ones make you feel that you too can become great. Now, think about that. But what I also want you to think about, I want you to be realistic. Because nowadays, people are always being told they're great. It's that whole participation medal generation. So it's okay if we're going to be great, but to tell your kids you're great at something when you're not, that's not really true either. So my suggestion is tell them that they're good at it, but they could become better at it. But if you always tell people they're already great, so this isn't belittling some, this is actually, you want to stay away from the people in your life that say you can't do it. Because those limiting beliefs are going to shackle you, and you're not going to enjoy your life by listening to people that might not be as smart as yourself. We're going to be talking about a few different things in tonight. One's about potential, and we're also going to be talking about some philosophy tonight. Now, your potential. President Obama, he made this word. Yes, we can. That was his campaign that he ran to become the first black African-American president of the United States, didn't he? Yes, we can. He was there at the right time. He did the right thing. But you got to understand there's a difference between what you can do and what you will do in life. Okay? So I really want you to consider that as we're going through the talk here, because it's not about what you can do. There's a lot of things I can do, but am I going to get off my butt and do it is really what it's all about. What are you willing to do in your life? How many people have seen this video at least once in their life? Hands up high? Okay, so some people haven't seen it. Alright, so a little history here. This is Sudan. The year is 1993. If I took the picture, I'm Kevin Carter. I am going to spend 20 minutes lining up to get the perfect shot. What are you willing to do? Would you have spent 20 minutes lining up that shot? Or would you have done something different? What do you think? He was told, don't go and touch any child because you might end up with a disease. If you were told that and you saw a child and a vulture, what would you do? Would you listen to someone who said, don't touch someone because you might get an infection? Or would you go running over and grab the child? Or would you spend 20 minutes lining up a photograph? Isn't that kind of shocking when you look at what he went? Now, he won a Pulitzer Prize the next year for this. So he won a prize. You know what he did 3 months after he won the prize? He committed suicide. He killed himself. So that's the true history behind what happened here with this picture. This was it was either Time or Newsweek magazine. It was a cover picture. It was an amazing picture of what was happening in a country but lining up 20 minutes to take a picture instead of trying to get rid of the bird or pick up the child makes you just, I don't know, I get a terrible, does anyone else get a bad feeling in your stomach? Yeah, and this is the world that we're living in. This is the selfie world, and we have to get people away from things like that. Now, I'm going to show you a little math equation, and this took me about 2 or 3 minutes. Some of you are probably smarter than me, you're going to get it quicker than me, but I want you to look at what I'm going to put up here in a second. And I want you to think about this, because this math equation is really a motivation equation if you look at it. So there's 3 pieces, and look at these 3 different lines. Now, this is to the power of. You guys remember math when we put something to the power of? 2 to the power of 3 would be 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 to the power of 3 would be 8. Now look at that and tell me what that means. So I want you to think about it for a bit. If you think you know the right answer, as think you figure it out, put your hand up. And then, okay, so that's one person that's got it. So we'll get, I don't want to say the answer yet, because I want the rest of you, that's good. I didn't expect him to be getting that one quickly. But I want the rest of you to think about this, because once you start to look at what 365 is, which is, what is it? It's, how many days of the year? Yeah, okay. So the first line, we got 1.01. That's just a little more than 1, isn't it? All right? The next line is 1. And the next one is just a little bit less than 1. And you look at the numbers at the end, and they're incredibly different. Scott, what does that mean?
The way I translate it is, okay, if we put in kind of our standard level of effort, at the end of the year we'll still be at 1.
Yeah. And what if you put a little bit more?
And we're like 30 times better.
Yeah. And what if you put a little bit less?
And we're fading away to...
Do you see that happens? This is math. So you guys are looking for these home runs. And it's like, it's not home runs. It's just a little bit better version of you. This is math. If you just do a little bit more and you do it consistently, you'll become an even more incredible person. It's your potential. You'll be able to do more because you did more. You're not going to wear out. People are afraid of wearing out. No, you're not going to wear out. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be more resilient. You're going to become a better version of you. Woman, 107. What does she say? Happy life is being good to others. You know what? If someone's 107, we probably should listen to him, isn't it? So she's happy. She's helping others. The key to living a long life is being happy and being nice to others. Wow, that's real complicated, is it? Any research papers on that, Dr. Jeff? No, I got a 107-year-old. That's good enough for me. So you guys love science? I'll show you some science later on. But this is common sense stuff. This is a world that we've kind of gone backwards in many areas. Oh, video time.
Yes.
Good videos tonight. See, a lot of people are afraid of change too. Simba was afraid of change too, wasn't he?
Looks like the winds are changing. Change is good. Yeah, but it's not easy. I know what I have to do, but going back means I'll have to face my past. I've been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past. Yeah, but it still hurts. Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it, or... You see? So what are you going to do? First, I'm gonna take your stick. No, let us do it! Man! Where are you going? I'm going back!
Yeah, change is hard, but you know what? You're capable of change. You just don't think capable of change. You think it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be great rewards at the end of it. So you need to embrace change and know that you're going to be fine. Things that you need to change in your life. Your limiting beliefs. Dwelling on the past. you want to be happy? That's what he says all the time. Do you want to be right? You can be right in an argument and get a lot of people angry with you. So it's not about being right. People always want to be right. Now, we all have a philosophy in our life. We don't understand that we have a philosophy, but a philosophy is the way we run our lives. See, I get all the time where someone will come into my office and they'll understand that chiropractic will help for an ear infection, but only for a left ear infection, and it won't be able to help their throat infection because they get a limited version of what I do. And then they'll have a different philosophy if they get a right ear infection. It's like, Dr. Jeff is great with the left ear, but I don't know who to take him to on a right ear infection. And we all have these little issues in our lives because we don't see how it all connects together. That's your philosophy. And your philosophy should be more congruent in your life, and you should have, you know, basically a better idea. People are shifty with their philosophy. It changes with circumstance. Now, your philosophy can change a little with circumstances. God designed us to have free will. If He wanted us to always make His decisions exactly right all the times, we would be a computer program, He would have written script, and you would always do the same thing. But then free will would be totally lost. So He understands sometimes we're going to make a decision that wasn't what He wanted, but once again, that's life. So some situations will change. But when it comes to things like, does God want you on drugs for the rest of your life? You know, I get it. If you're a type 1 diabetic, well, you might have different options than I would. But I'm 53 now, and I'm 27 years since I've taken an aspirin. If I can go 27 years without an aspirin, I am no different than you. I'm just doing different things than you. So my philosophy is always the same. If I get a sore throat, if I get a cough, if my ear bothers me, the same thing is I'm not going to take a drug because that wasn't the cause of my problem. The cause of my problem is my lifestyle got out of balance. I became disconnected from God's power and my body couldn't heal itself. So what am I going to do? I'm going to check all the channels and reconnect myself. So I'm going to check my mindset, I'm going to check my nervous system, I'm going to check my exercise, I'm going to check my diet, and I'm going to look around and make sure I'm not making myself toxic with my lifestyle. That's where I'll always start. Now, if I've broken a leg, I've been in a car accident, I'm bleeding profusely, then I go to crisis care. That is a slightly different model, where now drugs and operations become, viable options. Do you guys see the difference? Life and death and normal lifestyle. But you have to fix your normal lifestyle before you start to jump to drugs with everything. And my philosophy is sound in that area because I don't believe we were born to take medications. I believe a lot of people take medications, especially in North America, but the whole idea, do we have to? I've done some talks at churches, and the church people are always interesting people. Because, I love it. You go to church, you meet some people, but unfortunately, some of the people I meet, they don't understand that you get cancer in church. You get heart disease in church. Yeah, the #1 killer in North America is heart disease. The #2 killer is cancer. The #3 killer, this was out in the news a few weeks ago, is death by medical mistakes. They say in North America, 1 out of 10 people are going to die in North America from a medical mistake. So pull out your cell phone and figure out who isn't going to be. This is terrible, like 1 out of 10. They say if people go to the hospital, 1 out of 100 people go to the hospital aren't going to come out. 1 out of 100. And these are conservative efforts. It's around 400,000 people a year in the U.S. die from properly prescribed drugs, proper procedures, yet something went wrong. And things happen this way because people are relying on their doctor. They're not taking responsibility for themselves. They're not eating right, they're not exercising, no one's making them do it. So we're saying, hey, well, I'm doing this, the doctor's doing that, and everything's going to work out. Look around, it's not working out. You have to be responsible with your choices. And when you're responsible, then once again, that's totally on you. So we didn't inoculate our kids growing up. People go, what happens if they get sick? Well, if they get sick, they'll get measles, they'll get chickenpox, they'll be fine. We're not going to worry about that because those conditions don't kill you in North America. Now, even though measles kill many children worldwide, I realize I don't live worldwide. I live in Canada. All right? I don't live in Brazil. I don't live in Africa. Children aren't dying in North America from measles. You guys just get talked into things. You have to develop your your philosophy along the way. Now, one of my talks in the church, I met a person who he did a vow of poverty. But you know, I want to point out too, a vow of poverty isn't someone that says, "Well, I'm just going to live at home in my parents' basement forever." See, that's different. That's someone who just doesn't want to do what he's supposed to do in life. All right? So you have to figure out what God wants from you in your life. And then you have to make sure that when it comes down to your human potential, that you're doing what you're supposed to do. Potential is one of those funny things. You either use it or you lose it. All right? So there's years in your life where you can do things to really impact people. You do not want to be on your deathbed looking back saying, maybe I should have done something. So it's a matter of making sure that you are doing what you're supposed to. Entertainment time. So this is about selfies, which is a crazy thing to me, the selfie world.
Look around you. Everybody's just walking around. Taking a photo of yourself? They call it a selfie. I can't even say the word without sweating. I can't stand the word. I call it taking a lonely. Do you know how alone you gotta be? That you can't find anybody to take a photo? That you got 838 photos of yourself in your bathroom? What are you doing? What are you doing?
It does put it in perspective a little bit, doesn't it? When you start to look at what people are doing.
Listen, so good to be here. Just ran into Liam backstage. That guy is stunning. All right? And it's so good to be here on the Tonight Show.
Now, this is a good one, too. This is James Corden. His view on selfies.
The baseball playoffs start this week, and last week there was a baseball game in Arizona where some girls in the stands were taking so many selfies, it caught the attention of the commentators. Take a look.
One more now.
Oh, there you go.
That's the best one of the 300 pictures I've taken myself.
I mean, these girls, they just took about 20 pictures in 10 seconds at a baseball game. To put that in perspective, the guys who landed on the moon took like 3 total pictures. You know what I mean? I can just picture them coming home and their friends like, how was the game? And they're like, oh, it was so intense. Bottom of the 9th, I didn't think we were going to pull it off. My battery was at 3%. But then Sarah found a charger and it was all fine. But to be fair, the announcers deserve some of the blame. Like, here's an idea. How about not lingering on a group of 19-year-olds for 5 minutes during a baseball game? Like, I don't know who lost that game, but I know who won. Creepy old dudes watching at home. Right? But this has raised a bigger question to us here at the Late Late Show, which is how many photos is too many photos? Because experts estimate that 1 trillion photos have already been taken in 2015. Like, you know, that's how many dollars you'd have to pay me to sit through an entire baseball game. Right? But selfies, they are getting out of control. They really, like, if you go back 20 years ago, can you imagine taking 100 pictures of only yourself and then handing that to the guy at the 1-hour photo? I mean, they think you're insane. They're like, you want to print all of these? And they're like, yeah, totally. But now, you do that and post it on the internet and people are like, oh, bitch, you look fierce. It's crazy. It's crazy. But not everyone is taking pictures. Take a look at this photo of this lady at the premiere of the movie Black Mass. She is the only person in that photo not holding a cell phone. Right now, I think that this picture is wonderful. Look at her, just taking in the moment, living in the moment. But you know what the kids are thinking when they see that photo? They're like, oh, that poor old woman, she can't afford a phone. We should start a Kickstarter to get that lady a phone. We should do that. We should do that. But there are so many pictures out there now. Like, people are having to up their game by taking dangerous photos in dangerous places. And this has become so common that this year, and this is a fact, more people have died taking selfies than have been killed by sharks. Seriously, people are dying by selfie, right? And it is tragic. Not only because you're dead, but because you'll never be able to see how many likes that picture got. But selfie accidents are scary, right? But they're still not scarier than sharks. Like, that would make for a much worse Jaws movie, wouldn't it? Like, we're going to need a bigger boat. No, seriously, because I can't fit everyone in. I can't in. Selfie, 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 selfie. But seriously though, if I die taking a selfie, please make it easier for my family and my friends and just tell them that I killed myself. But my policy is you should treat selfies like you treat drinking, right? Try not to do it alone. Definitely don't do it while you're driving. And if you take more than 2 or 3 a day, you should probably seek help.
About that, doesn't it? These comedians sometimes they hit the nail right in the head in the sense where people just get caught up in a world that just is so different than we grew up. Science. We're going to show you some science tonight. People always love the science behind what we talk about here. The question is, how much science do you need to really change your lifestyle? Positive thinking increases the gray matter. The gray matter are the cells in your brain and in your spinal cord that runs your body. So if you think positively, you will have more gray matter. Increased optimism will also decrease your anxiousness. So when we look around today, we see a lot of unhappy people. We see a lot of stressed people. And a lot of this has to simply do with your lifestyle and doing the right thing. So if we exercise, if we think about good things, your body is designed by God to work better. So you can look for the next magic thing, or you can just do what you know what you're supposed to do. Increased obsessive-compulsive disorder and narcissistic behavior has been linked to the selfie lifestyle. I don't know. That can't be good, can it? Because the focus is only on you. I find in my life, when it's all about me, something really bad is going to happen. Because it's not what I'm supposed to be focusing on. When I'm focusing on my patients, my practice, my patients' friends who are sick and they're not here yet, when I'm thinking of something bigger than me, God allows those things to happen. Because they're bigger than us. And we're all looking for things that are bigger than us. That's why we're here. We're here to get information so that we can change. But if it's only about you and what you're going to get out of this tonight, you know, you might get a little bit of improvement, or you might be a little bit less than 1 on that math equation, because it's about you. It's never been about you. Okay? As soon as you understand that, then your life will change. Tylenol. Tylenol decreases your empathy. This is a study that just came out at Ohio State University. They designed this experiment to see if the people taking Tylenol were less empathetic. So these people on Tylenol read a story about what was happening, and they looked at it and said, "This doesn't sound that bad." And yet people read the same story that weren't taking drugs, and they looked at it and said, "Oh my God, this person's suffering. They need our help." Do you see what Tylenol did? It made you less of who you were. You think it's going to fix your neck pain or your back pain? it's going to affect your nervous system. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to change who you are. And you're going to walk past people who are sick and you're not going to see them. So, in my words, I'd say Tylenol creates a situation where you have less God in your body. And given the choice of more God or less God, I'm hoping you choose more. Taking Tylenol decreases positive emotions. That's a second study that came out the year before. Remember how we were talking about positive emotions, gray matter. Well, now you've taken away your positive emotions. So it's dulled your life. Yeah, it took away your headache. Yeah, it took your back pain away. But it also narrowed your existence. It's not good for you. Back to gray matter, we talked about that. When you don't have more gray matter, well, your body's not going to work as well. When we're in this position, the phone position and the selfie position, everything bending you forward, this posturally is bad for your spine. All of these things affect the quality of your life. And it's all linked together. So you can't look at these things as isolated instances. See, philosophy, back to that philosophy, people look at this as a bunch of little pieces. It's like, no, 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 no. God made you as a whole person, not a bunch of little pieces. You go to a medical doctor, they're going to look at your nose if you're congested. Then they're going to see swollen lymph nodes. Oh, now we got to send you to someone else. They break you up into pieces. You know what? If we fix people's lifestyle, most people don't need to go to see doctors because you were made to be perfect. Back to our vow of poverty. Well, I guess some people are going to take a vow of poverty, and maybe that's the life that they want to lead, but you got to ask yourself the question, is that what God wanted for you? Maybe God wanted abundance in your life. And the person that I met at that talk that took the vow of poverty, I think he was one of those people who just didn't want to move on with his life. He just didn't want to do those things. And some people do want to do that, and that's their mission in life. Other people choose it because it might be the easier thing. So it's about using your potential again. Would I bet on you? See, even when it comes to my kids, if they say they want to do something, the question is, do you really want to do it? You know, you say you want to do it. But am I going to bet on you? Well, I'm going to bet on you if you're putting the time and the effort into it. Am I going to bet on you if you're watching TV and you told me you're going to change something and you're spending 4 hours a day watching TV or playing video games? No, I'm going to support you. I'm not going to submarine you and say that you're not going to, but I'm also going to say, really, you said you wanted to do something. If you want to do something, what's your game plan? Where are you moving to? Because I'm not going to bet on someone. I'm not going to make a sucker bet. I'm not giving someone money who's going to waste my money. You guys get that? So there's that fine line between supporting someone, but there's also that line of, well, you know what? I don't want to tell them that they're going to be able to achieve something if they're sitting around on their butt, not moving towards what they want to do in life. So yes, you have the potential, but you have to work hard. And it might not be working hard all the time. When it comes to exercise, I had to work hard to get to where I was, to do the marathons, to do the half Ironmans. I had to work hard. But I don't have to work as hard now because the training's been done. I still have to work, but it's not as hard. So most of you, when you look at wanting to change, you think, I got to do this for the rest of my life. No, you don't. You got to work hard for the next 6 months, and then it just becomes so much easier that you'll be able to do it with very little effort. But you have to put the 6 months in, or the year in, whatever you need to do. You got to put the time in to get those results. So yeah, I bet on anyone who's willing to put the time and effort in. Cheryl, how much has she lost so far in the office? 100, 105 pounds. I wouldn't have bet on Cheryl. She didn't even keep her frequency properly, but man, she did it. She wanted to lose weight, and she did it. And other people were at the same talk, and they wanted to lose weight. They didn't do it. And Cheryl was not like an ex-Olympian or anything like that suddenly said, I could do this again. No, she was just an average person like anyone else. She just did it, and she followed through, and she kept doing it until she met her goal. Just because you can doesn't mean you will. And don't go home tonight inspired. Go home tonight if you're inspired to change. See, a talk is great when people can go home and they got their notes, they got 6 things they've written down. And if anyone would like any of these slides when I'm done, you know, then we'll make sure you get any slide tonight. You know, we'll put it back on, or Adam will email it to you. You know, so you can take notes. All of those things are great. But these slides won't change your life. What will change your life is your action. And that's why when I said earlier, when I go to churches and I talk, and people in church don't realize the person beside them, and they probably do. They do realize the person beside them is sick. But they're just relying on prayer instead of prayer and action. So the whole idea is inspiration is what you're looking for, being in the Spirit. Motivation, you know, it'll last about 2 days, and then you stop doing it because, you know, there'll be something better on TV. And a new idea to do. And we all get caught up in those things. I'm absolutely nowhere close to perfect. My wife right there will attest. She probably has this week's list that she has, which we'll review later. I'll ignore it.
I'm still
It's not that bad. The reason why God picked heroes in the Bible, think of your favorite Bible story. And you know, and you think back, and the reason why God picked that person is because after the amazing event happened, no one looked back and said, yeah, that's because that guy was really good. They go, no way, there's no way he could have done that by himself. God must have done it, right? And it's like, well, yeah, that's right. Because when he's on your side, you will always win. But you still have to put the hard work in. And don't skip that step, because that's an important step. The 5 essentials of maximized living. Now, the 5 essentials of maximized living are like 5 tires on your car. You got 4 tires on the road, and you got a spare. Spares are pretty important when you get a flat, because you need all 5 tires. If people say to me, well, I'm going to do a couple of those things, it's like, well, then you're driving a motorcycle. It's not the same. It's not the same vehicle at all. You have to get good at all of these things. And you don't have to get good at all of them tonight. You just have to look at that and say, all right, what am I worst at? Maybe I should start with what I'm worst at. And then once I get better at that, I don't have to put a lot of effort in, and then I'll work on the other things. If your diet is really good, please don't spend a lot of time on your diet, because now you're just wasting your time. Do you get that? Your diet is good. You don't need to go from 98% to 99%. You're probably not going to notice a difference. But if your exercise is 30% and you get that to 60%, your life will change. Do you get that? It's just about the math again. You got to understand the math, the philosophy, the potential. All of these things are going to make the difference. The 5 essentials of maximized living, they teach us it's important to take care of ourselves. That's what the essentials are all about. I'm not here to sell you vitamins. I told you last talk, maximize living, they really went heavy into the vitamins. I don't think you need to be eating vitamins. I think you need to be eating the right food. Some of you might need supplementation. That's not my job to determine. You know, fish oil, vitamin D, those are great choices. But once again, if you ate better, if you exercised, if you just didn't eat out, you become healthier. So I'm selling you. There's an amazing power inside your body. Wouldn't it be great if you just turned on the tap and let it flow, instead of saying, I wonder what vitamin I should go take. I wonder what gym I should join. Well, there's a gym right over there. It's free. Oh, but people don't value things that are free, do they? No, I like to pay for stuff and then not go to the gym. That seems to make more sense to me. Running a life like, and we all have things in life. Like I said, I'm talking about me, I'm not talking about you, but you guys get where I'm getting at. Give us a glimpse of the important people in your lives. See, a lot of times when it comes to sickness, it's too late before you realize that you're sick. See, if I can teach you how to eat better, exercise, take care of yourself, you'll get to be around and spend more time with the grandchildren or great-grandchildren. Those are the important things to you. We have to teach our children and their children how to stay well. Adam, Mitchell, my children have to know how to cook. They cook meals at home. Why? Well, we are kind of lazy in certain ways. But they eat a lot of food too. So they have to know how to prepare meals. And you know what? Ultimately, they're going to go out and marry someone. And we hope that the person they marry, the women they marry, are going to be able to cook. But they might not. So at least I have to arm my kids with that information so that they can survive. Because ordering out isn't a solution. You know, we do it occasionally, but boy, the best food's at home. It's also a lot cheaper too. So, you know, if you want to save money and eat better, then you do it at home. Here's some science for you. Cute baby, isn't it? Only 30% of 1-year-olds are eating vegetables. Anyone see a problem with that? 30% are getting vegetables on a daily basis. Remember that? They used to get pureed vegetables all the time. You know what they're getting now? Brownies and chips. So this was some research that just came out in April. They said by the time the child is 22 to 23 months of old, the children are now getting 12 teaspoons of sugar on a daily basis. Now the World Health Organization says adult males 9 teaspoons of sugar a day. That's the adult male. Women are 6. This is not even a 2-year-old getting 12. Ain't no problem there, is it? If it's a grandchild, you got to step up. If it's your child, then it's easier to step up. You just have to go home and do it. And of course kids like sugar. I'm not questioning whether they like sugar. It's very, very addictive. It's just horrible for you. And that's why we're dealing with obesity. That's why we're dealing with high blood pressure with children. Because parents are feeding their children brownies and chips. And trust me, you weren't fed that as a child. So you can't turn around and do that to your children. It's not fair to your children. Air rage linked. The class divide on an airplane. This is kind of maximize mine. When I take this to maximize living essential number 1. And Linda and I, we've flown in the business section. It's been very nice, hasn't it? They're very cordial to us. I remember that person that came up to meet us. I guess she knew us from Healthy Foods and More. And then these couple people come up in the first class in their business class, and they come up and the stewardess goes over. Is this person bothering you? I said, no, you can let them stay for a few minutes, and then we'll escort them out. But it's like, it's a different world up there. But
we're usually in the back.
Oh, well, of course, we're always in the back. This is why it was so fun going up in the front. And our kids, and this is, as a parent, so I'm never taking them up in business class again. Their expectation level goes way up now. And then we take them the next time on a JetBlue plane, and we see how the rest of the world lives. And it's funny because they say in this, these are people in the back, we could smell the chocolate chip cookies. It's almost like there's this rage going on in an airplane. They had a cookie and I didn't have it. And it's like, wow. When I sit in the back, I actually appreciate the people who sat in the front of the plane. Because you know what? They paid a lot more for their ticket. And when they paid a lot more for their ticket, they subsidized my ticket. So that's the way I want to look at the situation, because they made it cheaper for me to fly on the airplane. Hey, thanks. And now they're saying, geez, maybe we should we'll let the people in the back of the plane in first, and then we'll bring the first class in. Because in this article it talks about some guy elbowing someone on the way by, because he was in coach, and he went by and nudged someone on purpose. It's like, guys, what's wrong with you people? And why are we writing articles like this in the paper? That other flight that we took to LA, they brought 2 people from the back of the plane. And this was a great idea. Pilots are pretty smart people. The plane was unbalanced. So they brought 2 people from the back. And the people at the back of the plane, they weren't like these people. They're like, I'm never going up there. Those people up front are horrible people. They went, really? I can go sit up front for free? Count me in. So they brought 2 people up from the back to balance the plane so we didn't crash on takeoff. I thought it was like a win-win situation. You know, the pilot was smart. They brought us up. And they were really happy, the people that were there. Because they thought, hey, this is a nicer way to fly. Yeah, it is. They didn't get mad about the smell of cookies. This is stuff that we just didn't see 5 or 10 years ago, that people are actually worried about stuff like this nowadays. Don't worry about this crazy stuff. This stuff is comical when we start seeing it in the paper, but the paper is filled with stuff. So when you start reading these articles in the paper, read it with, you know, I really feel sorry for this, a moment of grace for all of us where we can look and just feel sorry for the craziness of what's going on here. But don't become enraged with these stories. They're almost more comical. How do you decrease anxiety? You give away things that you don't need. Gee, there's some science for you. You want to drop your blood pressure? Go do something nice for someone else, and God's designed your body to your blood pressure will drop. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it? Without any of the horrible side effects of the hypertensive medication. I don't know. box of clothing might be the way to go on that one, eh? At least in my opinion. Now we talked about this. This is a slide from my last show, and we talked about the mindset of getting people away from exercise and getting people into the mindset of playing. Because life should be about playing. It should be about doing the things and enjoying what you do. But everything in this world drags you into this position. So you have to work on your triceps. You have to start to do push-ups. You have to do your stretches. You have to do things that keep you in an erect position, because you see what happens to seniors, don't you? Does this surprise you when seniors end up like this? I'm worried about the 20-year-olds now that are constantly looking down at their phones. I don't know if they're going to get to be 70. They're going to be like this in their 40s. You can't breathe in that position. Maggie's a massage therapist. They can't, can they?
No, can't digest food either.
Yeah, they can't do anything because your body's in a horrible position, so we have to change that. Love and forgiveness. This should have been like, this is like the most important slide in the talk. Because once again, most people's issues deal with love and forgiveness problem. I have to go forward one slide because it's, no, I have to go forward. I'll do this, then I'll go forward. This is a funny slide I have to show you. So the 2 commandments that Jesus gave us. Love God with all our heart and our soul, and love thy neighbor like you love thyself. It's all about love, isn't it? So he made it a little simpler than 10 commandments, so it's all about love. But a lot of times when people have trouble with the love. They have trouble with loving themselves. They have trouble with forgiving. Why do people not follow through? Well, a lack of love and a lack of respect for themselves. Ouch. Most of the issues that people have are issues that they have with themselves, and they have to get over themselves so that they can help other people. Love thy neighbor like you love thyself. You have to love yourself before you can really love your neighbor. It's hard to love everyone else and really have some loathing issue. You got to fix yourself first, okay? So once you fix yourself, you'll want to fix everyone else or help everyone else around you fix them, because ultimately it's their own choice to fix themselves. The good news is you can fix you. In fact, you're the only one who can fix you. So yes, you can read a lot of fancy books, or you could just start saying nice things to yourself and doing nice things to other people. And then the doors open up and it happens. But if you get too scientific into, well, I need to read this book, and then once I read this book, I'm going to do this. That's where people go on this stuff. It's like, it might work and it might not work. But it has to be changing your mindset. Now, if those things help you change your mindset, I don't have a problem with that. But you don't need to go home and read books. We all know what we have to do to become better people. Trust issues. You get this? Older siblings? Creating trust issues since forever, and probably forever. We got a child looking down a hose, and we got the older sister with the hose bent. What's she going to do with that hose? She's going to unbend it. And then this child, for the rest of his life, is going to, things that happened in your past, you saw it, you heard Simba. Things have happened in the past and they hurt. Yes, they're in the past. This is a trust issue. You gotta forgive this person. It's actually kind of funny when you think about it and look at it. Now, last talk we talked about the new direction our office was taking, and we're moving. We have the heart rate variability monitor. We have the oximeter now, and I'm working on the last 2 things. So we're working on things in our office to measure physiological improvements when people get adjusted. I know people come in and they want their back pain and they want their headaches to go away. That's why people come and see me. But if that's why they came and see me and their headache or low back pain goes away, then that's usually why they leave too, because they weren't here for the right reasons. I'm here to teach you how to become a better person for the rest of your life. And how do you do that? Well, first, you have to be healthy for the rest of your life. And most people don't have a plan for being healthy. Heart disease is the #1 killer. Cancer is the #2 killer. And medicine is the #3 killer. If you don't have a game plan to avoid those things, then you're just kind of, doing what everyone else is doing. If you don't have a stance on GMO food, if you don't have a stance on all the processed food filled with sugar, if you don't understand how that's impacting your life, then your philosophy is changing. And your philosophy is likely going to be the result in your demise. Well, we're trying to teach people how to change these things so that we can actually show you objectively. This is the scientific stuff. This is the cool stuff. Because we can show you the improvement to your nervous system, because your nervous system runs every organ in your body. So if your heart rate variability, so what happens is, think about it, someone with a pacemaker, their heart will always beat at the exact same pace. It's scientific, it's computer programmed, isn't it? Boom, boom, boom. It's always the same, there's no variability. Guess what? The people that have a pacemaker, when it comes to health, would you put them at the really healthy or the really unhealthy? Yeah, they're at the really unhealthy because that's what they needed, a pacemaker. Where the rest of us, we're supposed to have heart rate variability. Our heart's supposed to change little beats, microsecond beats between them. The more variability you have, the more adaptive your body is to the environment. That's what the research shows. So we're going to start to measure those things in the office. The oximeter, boom, real simple. You put your finger in there, it gives you oxygen saturation. The higher the better. How can we get higher saturation? Interval training, exercising, eating better. And then we'll also see the changes in your heart rate, because your heart rate will stop beating. You'll start beating lower. Stop. That's not good. It'll stop being high. It'll be lower. See, when a heart works more efficiently, what your heart will do is it will beat less, but it will beat more, because that's better. But when you aren't in a training mode, my heart rate right now is snuck up somewhere between about 55 and 65 on a normal day. When I was training, the summer I did 3 marathons and 2 half Ironmans, it was, between 45 and 55. So my resting heart rate when I was standing there, I could get it down to around 45, 47. That was pretty typical. But that's because I was training hard. If I don't train that hard, my body changes my parameters and it moves me here. Now if I don't exercise more, it will eventually sneak me up higher. Now women, your heart rate, your pulse is always going to be higher. So once again, we're wired differently. I think we're all aware of that. But these are the parameters. And then as part of our reevaluations, we're going to try to get patients, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, is we're going to try to get people to do your push-ups. How many push-ups can you do in 20 seconds? We want to move people to something that's going to allow them to measure differences in their life. And yeah, the first time you do it, it's probably going to be crummy, isn't it? But then eventually, if you work on it, and we get your triceps working better, now you're not all in the seat. There's a purpose why we're going to this. It's not about how many push-ups you can do. It's about how can we strengthen your muscles to keep you in good postural position in your life. So that's why we want to do these things, and we want to be able to measure it, and we want to get patients to buy in on it, because if you think I'm just here for neck pain and back pain, well, you see me for the wrong reasons, and yeah, I get it, people see me for the wrong reasons, but we like it when people see us for the right reasons. The nervous system runs every organ system in your body. In order for your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, or a cut in your leg to heal, a message travels from your brain down your spinal cord and stirs the cells in your body to life. My job is simply to make sure there's no interference with it. It's not to fix this, it's to remove what you've caused to interfere with that. Alright, I don't fix you, I remove the mess that you've created. Where medicine, they try to fix you. They alter your healing. I'm here to aid in your healing by altering your lifestyle. So I'm not like a medical doctor. I don't want you to think I'm like a medical doctor. I'm doing something totally different than a medical doctor. This is not alternative care. I'm not complementary medicine. We're teaching you that there's an incredible power inside your body, and if you stop interfering with it, the power will flow better, and you will have a level of health that you've never had before in your life. Does that sound like something that's more fun and you might want to do for the rest of your life? That's what we do here. And that's why we want you and all your family and all your friends in here. Why? Because they need to know this story. Once again, next event, barbecue. Now, this was an affirmation, so we can put this up, and you can see this later if you want to write this down. But we talked about this last time, about being nice to ourselves. Some of the things that you say to yourself, if you had a friend that said that to you, they wouldn't be your friend anymore. Okay? This is your self-talk going on in your head. And I'm here to give you permission to change that self-talk. But in a selfie world, it becomes all about you. You have to look beyond. You have to become selfless. And if you become selfless, you'll get incredible rewards. So what do we have to do to get that? Well, we need action steps, don't we? Everyone loves action steps, so I'll give you 10 action steps, maybe 9. You need to learn to be empathetic. Well, guess what? If you're on Tylenol, you can't be. So guess what? Here's an action step. Stop taking Tylenol. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? And by the way, all Tylenol comes from China anyways. Do you want to buy things from China? Probably not, that often. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Thinking of others as better than yourself. And that's a cool one. Thinking of others is better. If you start thinking of other people as better than yourself, you'll start to listen to them. Now, some of these people, you can think of them that way, but if they're going to just tell you gibberish, it's okay, you don't have to listen to it. But you have to think of them that way, and then listen to them, and then you still have a brain to make the decision, okay? You don't have to do what they say, but you're never going to listen to someone if you think you know 10 times more than them. And, you know, I've been there in my mindset, I don't want to hear it, and then you go, oh, they had some really important information, shut up, Jeff, listen to them, okay? But you have to have the mindset of, they're smarter than me, until they open their mouth and go, yeah, but no. You have to still wait at the end, all right? You know who said that? Anyone want to take a guess? That would be the Apostle Paul in his letter to the Philippians. Yeah, good one, isn't it? Don't take credit. Well, you can take some of the credit, but share the credit. But accept the blame, okay? It's not about you anyways. Mother Teresa said that. It was never about you. It was between you and God when you do things. Alright? So, don't take the credit. In our office, we're pretty clear. I said, I don't take the credit, I don't take the blame. I move the bone and God does the healing. So, my job is to get you to do what you tell me you want to do. Now, if you keep telling me you want something, but all your actions are telling me that you're not, then I have to point that out to you. Tie your self-worth to God, not to man. Now that's an important one too. What do we call it? We call it self-esteem, don't we? And it's funny because what's self-esteem should be what I think of myself, but what self-esteem is what Paul thinks of me. It's like, well, that's not self-esteem at all, is it? So even our concept, we don't even know what self-esteem is. It's up to you to decide if you want to let something hurt your feelings. If I'm strong, if someone calls me a quack, or if someone calls me a bad name, it's like, well, you know what? I don't care, because I'm not that person. Why would I get upset? Why would I get angry? Why would I give that any credence? Because if I do, hey, wait a second. Maybe on some level I think I might be that person, and someone is hit a nerve. But if someone says something crazy to me, it's like, well, they're having a bad day. There's no point in me getting worked up about this, because if I get worked up and they get worked up, we're probably not going to get anywhere. It's a waste of your time, isn't it? So tie that to God, not to man. These are good ones, aren't they? I stole them from someone on the internet.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, that's what the internet's all about. Promote something bigger than yourself. B.J. Palmer. He took my profession and he brought it back to life. And it's become something that, once again, it's a God-driven. What we do is God-driven. It's all about the body healing itself. Medicine has tried to eliminate chiropractic on many occasions. And you know what? God wouldn't let it happen. Why? Because this is an important part of health. All I hear is doctors complaining about not getting enough money, and activists on the radio. You hear those commercials on the radio, I'm not an activist. Well, now she is an activist. You know, you hear these commercials, you go, wow, that patient went and they bought radio time and they wrote a commercial. They were really dead. Oh no, the medical doctor did that. The Ontario Medical Association hired people to say things. They're actors, all right? They're trying to get more money from the government, and they think if we gave medical doctors more money, people would be healthier. Can someone draw me a map and see how that would happen? How would anyone become healthier if you gave doctors more money? Well, the doctors might be healthier because they'd be happier. That's the only way you can take that. Because if you're happy, remember, we have more positive emotions and our body works better. But see, they've tied their whole profession to money. It's not about the money. It's not about them at all. It's about you making lifestyle decisions. And if you made great lifestyle decisions, you'd be like me and my wife. We don't go and see our doctor, yet my doctor gets paid money every month or every year from our medical doctor, from the government. He gets paid a flat rate to keep me well. I should be getting Christmas cards. He gets paid and he doesn't see me. Yet if I was sick all the time and I was in there every single week, he wouldn't get paid anymore. So he gets paid to not see me. That's okay. I don't want to see my medical doctor. I want to be well. But how do you be well? By making choices. And making better choices more consistently on a daily basis. Promote something bigger than yourself. Focus on the big picture, not on your small problems in life. Man, you're going to have problems every day in your life. Every day something's going to go wrong. But that's not the big picture. Those are just these little blips that you'll forget even bothered you. They're going to keep you awake, some of your small problems, and they don't need to. Because you need to have a big picture of where you're going and what you're doing in your life. It's not about what you're necessarily doing every moment. You have to have goals. You absolutely have to have goals. They need to be written down. Realize you are a sinner and you can be wrong. You know? It's okay to be wrong. And we're all loved by God and we all need grace. I guess it was 9. So that's what you have to take out of tonight, is the fact that we can't get caught in a world where it becomes about you. It was never about you in the first place. So you have to not worry, you have to help the people who are around you. You have to guide them. We're getting together with a chiropractic couple 2 weekends from now. And we're going to go out and we're probably going to have a couple drinks and we're probably going to go to dinner. But we're going to exercise first. So when we go out with people now, we say, you know what, let's go do something healthy first. And then we'll go and we'll catch up. We catch up with the Mitchells 2-3 times a year, that's the goal. You know, they're nice people, but I can't spend every weekend with them either. There's other things to do in my life. But if I have the Mitchells that I go and have drinks with and dinner with and someone else, all you're doing is going out and having drinks and dinner all the time. That's not good for you. So if you took your friends and you were going to go and do something and you combined exercise or you changed where you eat and you did something different, your friends would appreciate that too. Most of you just haven't done anything. You're just kind of stuck in the rut and you keep doing the same thing. But if you force them to do something that they know they're supposed to do, they'll say thanks. Maybe not the first time. Maybe the second. Make sense? Good. Well, that's tonight's talk. If you're going to sign up for the recipe night, there's 4 spots left. So make sure you get a recipe. When you get the recipe, please don't alter the recipe. Don't go, oh, I'm going to bring my favorite tomato or potato salad. It's not about you, okay? It's about me. It's not about me either. It's about the night. It's about the process that we do. Linda's been working on these recipes. I've been eating them. That's my part. And it's been great because there's been some really healthy choices. And we're supplying all the meat for this. So we're going to do some kebabs or something up and we've got some chicken recipes that we cooked up yesterday. And they were all great choices. But we're doing that part so that your part becomes easy. You have to make the salad or the dessert or whatever it is, and then you can have a good night out. But it's a lovely potluck dinner here. And who's been out to recipe nights before? They're all fun, aren't they? Yeah, it's good times. They're nice people, and people, like I said, they clean up after themselves. It's really not a lot of work to do. Linda does all the work from organizing it, and then we just come and it's an event that pretty much runs itself. So we'd love to have you there, but there's limited spots. So if you're going to sign up, and then just follow the instructions, and then it's a no-brainer for all of us. Beautiful. I know. Perfect. Questions? Yes, anyone?
Well done, Jeff.
Well, thanks. It was nice. It felt nice to do my own talks again. Like I said, Maximize Living is a great group, but it's just nice to have our office back doing what we want to do with certain things, and I'm glad I spent the time I did with them. But they also gave me the direction that I want to move for the rest of my career. And I know we can help a lot of people, but I know that there's a lot of sick people in our community too. We talk about closing down the hospitals. I'd love to close the cancer center down because people. The cancer centers get bigger and bigger every year, and there's something wrong with that. Okay,
I was just going to ask about those tests that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Are those ones
Oh yeah, it's just trying to, we have it, it's just integrating it. So that's the action step. That is, you know, trying to figure out how to get it in, and starting with the new patients, then other people who have already been under care, starting with them. But it's not like they say, we're going to do everyone heart rate variability day, because we got to put a strap on you, then we have to set there's just some things that we have to logistically work our way through. But yeah, if some people are interested, yeah, you can come and be our guinea pig. I have no problem with that. You know, we can do this stuff on us, but it's pretty cool stuff, and you can read this stuff on the internet. Heart rate variability, oximeters. They're great measurements of your health instead of waiting around for chest pain and short of breath. Do you see how it's a different end of the spectrum? We're saying, wouldn't it make sense to fix your oxygen saturation when you're at 92% and get it up to 94%, instead of when it gets to, you know, 88% and you're short of breath? It just doesn't make sense to wait around. The problem is, no one's convinced you to do something in advance. They've convinced you to do things when you get a symptom. And ironically, we call that health care. I call it sick care, because you're sick. You get that? High blood pressure is called the silent. Yeah, well, I guess if you got high blood pressure, you're not in good shape, are you? You don't have to look too far to realize that the first sign of a heart attack is death in 40% of people. You're waiting around for your first sign. You know what? Well, 40% of you are going to get the first sign, and you're not going to be with us anymore. I'm teaching you there's another option out there, and it is healthcare, and it's the power that God's put inside your body. And I'm not against medicine. Medicine is great in crisis care. But what we do in crisis is different than what we do in health. See, if my building is on fire, spraying the building down is a great idea, all right? Now, if my building's not on fire, spraying the building down is not a good idea. Do you get that? It wrecks everything in here, coming in with hoses and axes and cutting holes in the wall. That's not what I want. So you got mixed up in your mind and you thought, well, drugs are good and drugs are good. That's because your philosophy is shifted. You need to have a firm philosophy, and then your decisions will all follow afterwards. And then you won't lie in bed knowing, oh, the fever's 102, it's 101, what do I do? The same thing. Nothing. Because when we were growing up, fevers were okay. But you're worried because you saw a Tylenol commercial. Then you went to the internet and you found out there's 20 different Tylenols, and there is if you look at it. There's Tylenol for cold, there's Tylenol for mucus, there's Tylenol AM, there's Tylenol PM, there's Tylenol for phlegm. And you look at this and you go, they have all these different Tylenols? That's because they're trying to sell you products. They're selling you you're weak. You're not weak. You're just believing the marketers. Any other questions? Good. Class dismissed. And if you want any slides, once again, if you need to go to a different slide, or if you want the presentation, I'm sure Adam can help you with those things. Just don't go and put them on my top. Can't do this. You can pull it out. I don't want to discourage you. Good. You're welcome.